The two religions I'll be discussing now, Jainism and Sikhism, also emerged out of India and so share many of the same elements of the Indian worldview with Hinduism and Buddhism. Jainism was founded by a man known as Mahavira, who's believed to have lived around the same time as Siddhartha Gautama, the man who became the Buddha. And in fact, his life story and his teachings are quite similar to those of Buddhism. Western scholars, when they first encountered Jainism, assumed that it was a sect of Buddhism, but later realized it's separate and independent. One of the most important differences between the two religions is that whereas the Buddha rejected the ascetic approach, which requires self-denial and self-sacrifice, Mahavira embraced it, and his followers to this day believe that the only way to achieve enlightenment is by going down that path of denial. So Jains share the belief in samsara and karma, death and rebirth, and the idea that our actions have consequences and determine our rebirth in our next life. But as we'll see, they understand them somewhat differently. They, like the Buddha, Mahavira taught that the gods exist, and if you desire riches or power, then by praying to the gods you may be able to achieve those ends. But if you want to escape samsara and become enlightened, only you can accomplish that goal. And so, like Theravada Buddhists, Jains teach that salvation is dependent upon the effort of the individual. And that's the only way to become a Tirthankara, which is an enlightened being equivalent to an arhat in Theravada Buddhism. So according to Jainism, their concept of the cosmos, it consists of multiple tiers of reality. The human realm is in the middle, and is made up of two types of substances, jiva and ajiva. Jiva refers to living souls. So the life essence which is contained in human beings, and in fact in all life, animals and plants. Everything else then is ajiva. That's non-living matter. From a Jain perspective, the goal in life is to escape from ajiva, because they believe that the jivas, the souls, have become trapped in non-living matter, and so have become corrupted and weighed down. And so in order to escape that burden and regain the original purity of the jiva, we have to transcend the material world. And the way we do that, as we'll see, because of the way Jains understand karma, is through the practice of ahimsa. Ahimsa means non-violence, and for Jain this applies to all sentient beings, and even to some degree to plants, because they too possess a life force. The same concept is present in Hinduism and Buddhism. As I mentioned, Hindus and Buddhists tend to be compassionate toward non-human animals, but Jains take it to the extreme. And a common Jain saying is that ahimsa, non-violence, is the highest dharma, is the highest religious duty that we are expected to follow. Now humans are, as with Hindus and Buddhists, humans are regarded as being superior in some sense to non-human animals, but only because we have the ability to achieve Kavala, which is enlightenment, salvation. Also, like Buddhists, Jains reject the caste system and the kinds of discrimination which it entails. So Jains classify all beings according to how many senses they believe they have. From those with 5 senses, those are humans, animals, birds, which are of course animals, down to those with 1 sense, which are vegetables. Then insects and worms are, etc., are in between those two. Jains believe that when we commit violence against living beings, we accumulate karma. And unlike Buddhists and Hindus, they conceive of karma as being almost a physical substance. We can't see it, but it's attracted to acts of violence. And so we accumulate it as we engage in acts of cruelty toward other humans and other beings. And for Jains, the more life force or prana a being has, the higher they are on this classification of the number of senses, the more karma we accrue if we commit violence against them. And so in order to achieve Kevala, enlightenment, to transcend samsara, and to allow our jiva, our soul, to escape from ajiva, the matter which is weighing us down, and the karma which weighs us down further, we have to practice extreme non-violence. But if we must commit violence, which of course we do to survive, we should focus it toward beings with the least amount of life force. And for that reason, all Jains are vegetarian. They reject the eating of meat because they believe that killing animals is